pranayam, ego transcendence, sacrifice, relationship. Anything else? In our practice of yoga, friends, in our sadhana, we need surely to ask at a very early stage, not merely what is it we practice, what is our yoga, but what is it that practices, and why does it practice? Not merely then what is practice, but what is it, who is it that practices, and why? Obviously, we undertake any spiritual exploration because we are aware of an insufficiency, aware of an incompleteness. We have an inner drive to become whole, to become complete, to become integrated. And this implies we are disintegrated, we are fragmented. And this is a curious phenomenon, because there is an aspect of ourselves which can perceive that wholeness is possible. So we must become whole. We undertake a journey. We undertake a quest. We follow our sadhana. We wish to become whole. It is the journey of the fragment towards the source. It is the journey of our lesser self towards the greater life, the greater being. It is the journey of the homeless towards the promised land. It is the journey of the prodigal to the benign and rejoicing Father. The journey is ourselves. The difficulty, the challenge is ourselves. The goal is ourselves. We have nowhere to go, nothing to seek, nothing to accomplish, except ourselves. This is the mystery. This is the conundrum. Man himself is the seeker. Man himself is the goal. Man himself is the journey. Essentially, it is a journey in consciousness. And the journey in consciousness is expressed, is externalized, made manifest, made organic, made apparent, made measurable by the fact of our organic life. There is an ancient teaching. God plus desire equals man. Man minus desire equals God. The source is the supreme consciousness, the source of all things and the source of ourselves. From this divine source, which is all wisdom, all power, all truth, all beauty, the totality of existence, there is emanated a thought form, the primal thought form of I. And this emergent thought form at no time is separate from the source that gave birth to it, nor from the divine will which begat it. The Father-Mother being is the divine. And the child of the divine is the primal thought of I that begins its journey in some primal state of innocence, and the journey is from spirit into matter. And the divine child of the spirit, the primal thought, unites with manifest nature, becomes subject to the laws of manifest nature, becomes cloaked in the substance of manifest nature, achieves materiality, gains organic form, finds its light is enclosed within substance, within the heavy weight of tamasic matter, and this is the sacrifice of the light made through its uniting with matter. The primal fact of our being is that we are sacrifice. Sacrifice implies two things: to make sacred and to die. To make sacred through dying. The divine light emanates the primal I. The primal I unites with matter. The primal I becomes the active seed that causes matter to become stimulated into organic form and development. The divine seed is the seed of life itself. The divine seed is the Purush. The divine seed is the spark of the divine fire that impregnates matter. And from impregnated matter, from the fusion of spirit and matter, there arises man. Through billions of years, the divine spark has undertaken a prodigious journey, a journey of ever striving upwards again towards the source, towards the light. And its striving has caused organic change, organic growth within material substance. And from it has resulted man. Man, and indeed all life on this planet, is the child, the many-splendored child, the many-faceted child of the unity of spirit and matter. Man is the apex of evolution on this planet. Man has divine origin and divine potential. And on his journey of ever becoming, man is ever expanding towards the source. And the consciousness expansion is expressed as evolution progresses by the increasing complexification of organic forms. And when the state of man is attained, by the increasing sensitivity of the organic form of man. So the life of any entity begins as a sacrifice. which is not a sacrifice of distress, but a sacrifice of ecstatic union. The divine delights to become less than itself, to undergo the dance of life, to undertake the quest of divine unfolding. The journey towards the light, the journey of the fragment towards the promised land, is our inevitable destiny. It is our problem. It is our distress. It is our sacrifice. It is our privilege. We are part of the divine dance of creation. In the course of it, we know the sorrows, the needless agonies of the planet. In the course of it, we know the ecstasy of being. And between these poles, we experience the whole range of ever becoming. Which is only resolved when consciousness ceases to be dualistic, when oneness finds its fulfillment in us. It is our little ego, surely, which cries out for an end to its uncertainty, for an end to its wandering, which cries out for rest, which seeks healing. And the manifest need, the recognizable need, presupposes the fullness of response from the divine source. Life and death are therefore inseparables. The one is the obverse of the other. To know life, we must know death. To know death, we must find life. In the spiral of ever becoming, in the spiral of eternal return, life and death are bedfellows. Life and death are dancers. Life and death are lovers. Life and death are the inseparable companions. And they are ourselves. Death is a release of energy. Sacrifice is the glad embrace of the reality of death, that fuller life may flower. Spirit incarnates into matter. Spirit becomes thought, which becomes I, and incarnates into matter in order that matter shall live, in order that the tamasic shall fulfill its potential and become light. So light becomes substance, and substance becomes light. In an ever-active journey, from cosmos to cosmos. Man is microcosm within the macrocosm. In man is all light, in man is all darkness, and in man is the everlasting interaction between the two and the everlasting unfoldment until the journey is complete. And what is that journey? And what is completion? What is it we are engaged upon? What is it we are seeking to do? What is it we are inquiring into? That which asks the question is really the being that already knows the answers. Because the mind which is prompted to ask the right questions is the mind in which the truth is already making manifest onto the level of the conscious mind the fuller understanding which is the redeeming revelation of the ego. The fact that we need to know presupposes we shall know. The fact of our cognition of the need for transformation presupposes that transformation is already immanent within us. This transformation is accomplished by the divine incarnating into substance, bringing seed into substance, giving life and growth to substance. Our little ego undertakes a vast journey. It is a journey of accumulation. And the bias of the first phase of that vast journey which finds its first phase of fulfillment as man, emphatic man. Is the stage of accumulation. But the whole process of accumulating, the energy of accumulation, the energy of the past, has meant that much has not been eliminated from our experience, from the developed organism. And the past has become a toxic echo. The past has become an anchorage to consciousness. The driving force of the ego seeking to reach the light and become more and more definite, more specific in its striving, until it becomes a fully individual man. That energy of the ego has created accumulations of valid experience which are now outworn, which are now of the past. And further advance consists in elimination. The process of elimination is yoga. Yoga is a process of deconditioning. The first rule of health on the physical level is efficient elimination. The first rule of health on the psychological level, on the spiritual level, is efficient elimination. And yoga, particularly meditation. Yoga is the means of achieving this healthful, this life-giving elimination, and that is part of death. We cling to our past. We cling to our strivings. We cling to our sufferings just as much as we cling to our treasures and our pleasures. Yoga diminishes the samskaras. The samskaras are the cumulative powers of the past, the energy echoes of the past. The samskaras project the ego. The ego is what has gone before. The samskaras therefore project also our karma. Our karma is that which has been caused by our past experience and must be worked out. And our karma causes our dharma. And our dharma is our way of elimination, our way of sacrifice. And when the ego has become sufficiently strong, it then perceives as a fact of maturity that it must die, that it must sacrifice itself for new life to become fulfilled. As the Master said, we must lose ourselves to find it. And when the ego dies, what dies is the grip of the past upon the I. The past is burned away. The samskaras become purified through the action of the breath of Spirit. Spirit breathes new life into the naked eye, shed of all irrelevance. And that is spiritual discovery. That is spiritual rebirth. And the rebirth comes when the sacrifice is made. Only when the ego lays down its life does the ego become reborn. This can only happen when the ego is strong and mature. A weak, inadequate, vacillating, fearful little ego can never achieve the strength to make the leap beyond itself. Before we transcend self, we must have a self to transcend. So, yoga is a process of elimination. All of yoga diminishes the samskaras. The breath of life will burn away the toxic past. Maturity consists of knowing what we need to know, and only what we need to know, of recalling what we need to recall, and only what we need to recall. The immediacy of now, the need of now, the perception of the relevant within the now, that is mature knowing. The perception of the non-relevant inevitably is immaturity. And true relationship is mature relationship. Mature relationship is possible only when our mind understands death. When a mind understands, has perceived the revelatory accomplishment of death within itself, the fulfillment of sacrifice within itself, only then can one experience through dying. Can one look and advance into any experience, fulfill that experience, and die to that experience. Then knowing, achieving, experiencing, becomes an act of the instant. And the act of the instant is a total act of response in balance from all centers, a non-fragmented response to experience. And the I approaches experience in balance and subordinate to the transcendent incarnating power of the non-I. Within such experience, the non-I acts within a shell, the empty shell of the mature I. The non-I, which is wisdom. The non-I, which is healing. The non-I, which is beauty. The non-I, which is love. That incarnates within the purified I, the purified ego, which is merely an empty shell, or to use Ramakrishna's analogy, like a burned rope, which looks exactly the same shape as the original rope, but has no power to bind. Such then is self-expression in freedom. Such then is true creativity. Such is the incarnation of life into man. And such is man's aspiration into the divine. And this is the meaning of sacrifice. Man himself is light incarnating into matter. Man himself is matter in ascendance towards the light. Man himself is the vessel, destined to become the combiner, the balancer, and the crucible of true fusion by which transformation is accomplished. And this is the true meaning of yoga for now. This is the truth of now. It is the truth that has always been. But the difference is that on a vast scale, humanity ever increasingly inhabits the earth, and on a vast scale, humanity ever increasingly clamours for the right to know, aspires to the right to be free. And the need of man, the aspiration of man, draws forth the response of the divine. And the light is moving among us. The light is arising among us. The light is ever present, walking with us. Therefore, there need be no fear. We are children of the light. The light is our destiny, our guardian, and our guide. We are the light.